Welcome to the news at 10. We now have an idea of the impact the state's quagga mussel treatment had on fish in the Mid-Snake River. It's been about 2 months since the State Department of Agriculture treated a 6-mile stretch of the snake to kill off the invasive mussels. Throughout that process, Fish and Game monitored the fish in that part of the river. Our Jude Binkley spoke with the agency about their survey and the outcome. Jude?
Morgan, high fish mortality from the treatment was expected since before it began because the chemical that was used binds to the oxygen receptors on the fish's gills and blocks oxygen intake. But the treatment had varying impacts on different species of fish in the river. Throughout the state's treatment process to eradicate quagga mussel on the Snake River, Idaho Fish and Game has been surveying and monitoring fish mortality on the 6-mile stretch of the river from the Twin Falls Dam to Centennial Waterfront Park. Before the copper-based formula being used to kill off the invasive mussels started flowing into the river, Fish and Game marked more than 4,000 fish to help develop population estimates. The department continued surveying fish populations throughout treatment and now has an idea of how that treatment impacted fish.
What we identified is that a lot of the game fish, your largemouth bass, your bluegill, your sunfish, there was essentially no mortality associated with those species. We did see high mortality in the species that we sampled during the treatment, the large-scale suckers, the pike minnow, northern pike minnow, and the yellow perch and white sturgeon.
As for the sturgeon he mentioned,
all of those fish were hatchery fish.
Fish and Game counted 48 sturgeon that died during the treatment. There were no sturgeon mortalities downstream of Auger Falls.
The sturgeon mortality that occurred between Pillar Falls and Centennial Park.
As for what's next, the Idaho State Department of Agriculture will continue to monitor that stretch of the Snake River to see how effective the quagga mussel treatment was. When the weather warms up, Fish and Game will sample more fish populations and ultimately is likely to translocate smallmouth bass back into the river, while the sturgeon population will take more time to rebuild.
You know, we have some tools in our toolbox that should allow us to help rebuild that population fairly quickly. We have fish in the hatchery system that will potentially we could grow to a larger size for a longer period of time in the hatchery before we stock them into the river.
And this treatment was part of the state's plan to eradicate the invasive quagga mussels, which pose a threat to Idaho's hydropower, irrigation, and recreation. And Fish and Game will still be playing the waiting game for a while. They need to make sure that there won't be another treatment on the river before they do any translocations. And Morgan will have a better idea of if this treatment was successful later next summer.
Yeah, got a little out of hand, that's for sure. All right, Jude, thank you.